How you doing, everyone? Alexander here, and in this video I'd like to talk about sexual discipline, how to build it, why do you need to build it, why is it even important, and how it's going to help you in your life and your journey and whatever you're trying to create, bring into this world, or get, obtain, achieve, and so on. So why am I qualified to talk about this? I think I've been very active when I wanted to, and also not active when I wanted to, and also active maybe when I didn't really want to on some level. And so I have quite a good experience of seeing how being very active and pursuing a lot of sex and having it can affect me and my life and my lifestyle and my productivity, and also how abstaining from it consciously, voluntarily, how can it empower me in my journey and what I'm creating in my productivity and work life. So I do really believe I have a good bit of experience in that. So without further ado, hear this. So let's look into the reason why first. We don't really understand the power that sexual energy has in our lives. Pretty much all biological life exists because of sex, right? This is very simple. Scientifically, you can look up in a biology book and see that life comes together, man and a woman, male, female, whatever other way it looks in nature. They come together and they fuse in a way. They share fluids and energy, and life is created. And so that is the basis of your existence biologically, physically in this body. That is the basis of my existence, and for pretty much everything you see. That is the fundamental energy that creates us, sexual energy. So when you have that urge, that is life itself is expressing its desire to continue existing, to continue reproducing, because your body has a limited amount of time, so it needs another life, another body, right? So this is literally that whole universe, that divine energy is manifesting itself through that. So quite often we don't understand how powerful it is, and we just waste this energy on, a magazine, if you're from 1980s, but on a website, on an adult website or something, right? We just waste this energy into a napkin and then throw it into a bin or in a sock, or wash it down the drain, and that's it, right? And not think much of it, and think it's normal, and think it's okay. Because we're not quite sensitive as a society to that energy, to the power it has with us. Now, if you're lucky, you maybe have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and then you get to spend time together, and then you get to get physical and spend some of that time together and embrace each other in that amazing experience. And if you're unlucky, you live together, so you get to do it all the time. like if you're a young couple in your, say, early 20s, you're gonna be stuck in bed unless you got a lot of work to do. And so what happens is just a lot of energy gets expended into that direction. No, it's not necessarily a wrong thing to do. You get a lot of pleasure out of it, you build a connection, you build a lot of intimacy, right, with a partner. So it's not necessarily bad. But still, if you look back at your life, if you had a lot of sex, or you've masturbated a lot, you can see how a lot of this energy can be brought into your goals, into something you want to build. Either exercise, physical exercise, or learning a new subject, or your studies in university, or building a physique, running, exercising, or work, excelling in your career or in your business. If you look at some of the world's most successful people, they definitely have been, if not necessarily eliminating, but restricting the amount of sex they have, the amount of sexual interaction they have. One good example is Elon Musk, right? He definitely has children, so he had at least some sex in his life. But he definitely doesn't spend all the time on it, because he knows that the more time he spends on it, less energy he will have. Not just time, but also energy he will have to work on his business, to work on his business in Tesla and SpaceX, the tunneling company, boring company, and everything else he's doing, flamethrower, whatever. Also, I've listened to quite a lot of interviews with rappers, and some of the really successful ones said the same thing. When they have a recording session, for example, a week, they have their sound engineer and the producer and whoever else they need. They rented a studio or something. For a week, they're just gonna record a lot of music and say, I can't remember who it was, but I'm quoting a specific person. He said he's recording 3 songs a day or something like that for a week. He booked an engineer for a week. He's recording 3 songs a day. He's not seeing any girls that week. He's not seeing any girls. He keeps all the energy in. He's not watching any porn. He just keeps all the energy in because he knows that even if it takes him quickly to do what he needs to do, 20 minutes, that he can come back to the studio, the energy he has is not the same. And to make a hit song, something that slaps, something that gets people, whoa, you need everything you can. You need all the powers you can, all the energy you can, right? Because you're performing on a high level. And as a high performer, he knows, okay, that week I cannot do it. So he's restricting, not eliminating completely from his life. Maybe after he done this a week recording session, he goes on a bender and invites 10 girls to his place or whatever whatever he wants to do, right? But he knows that for that period of time, it's production, it's work time, and there is no time to fool around. And that's one of the reasons he's successful, right? That he was on this podcast. I wish I can remember the name. Also, there is the same thing for boxers. A couple weeks before the match, the show, they don't have sex because they know that energy is there. And a lot of athletes, a lot of high performers have been using this trick, you can say trick, to enhance their productivity. So there's a lot of evidence that it works. So this is why you should do it, and this is how it's going to help you in your field. Now, you'll be asking, okay, well, I know I want to do it, but how do I control it? Because sometimes the urges can be overwhelming. If you have a habit, if you have a partner that comes and cuddles you every evening, maybe it's quite hard not to, engage in that. How can you start doing that? Well, have a look at this. And don't need to answer out loud, but how many times a week do you have sex or sexual activity or anything else you're doing with that? Just take that number and just, if you want, a very simple solution, very, very simple solution. Just take one time out of those and don't do it, and instead go and work on your career, on your business, or go to the gym, do some exercise, running, weights, or whatever else you like doing. And just spend that energy and time onto that, just once a week. Say you have sex every day with your girlfriend. One time when you're about to be like, oh, honey, it's this one time I said I'm just gonna go and do something else, and you go and do that, and maybe tell her to go and do some work as well, or go to the gym. Don't say, hey, honey, I'm not having sex with you, go to the gym. Don't say it like that. Or you might have a boxing match right there in your house. But if you want to start small, start with that. Start with that once a week, one time a week change. If you have it 3 times a day, instead of having 21 times that week, have it 20. And that's a start. That's a way to start. It's being conscious also that you're not suppressing that energy in you. You're not keeping it down like it's a boiling pot and you put the lid on it and then it's like vibrating and it just wants to explode and burst. Be conscious that you're transmuting that energy. Now maybe you're not sensitive to energies and you don't really know what I'm talking about. Is it some woo-woo stuff? What energy are you talking about? But if you are doing that, if these words resonate with you, you feel like there is truth to that, you see the evidence, you're like, yeah, I want to try this out. Just be conscious that there is energy there in some form, whatever form you can accept. There is some energy there in some form. And you're not suppressing it, you're not having a lid on it. Instead, you're redirecting it somewhere else. You're channeling it. You're redirecting it, channeling it, moving it into another area. Into area of work or physique or mental development if you're learning, or maybe you're learning a new skill, guitar, piano, learning to sing, learning to write music, learning new software, video editing, production, learning how to cook, learning how to read, learning how to write, learning a new language. Maybe you're in university, you're studying for the exam. Maybe you're going for boxing or weightlifting or some other martial art or cycling or running or walking or yoga or something else, but you're doing something else, and just be conscious of, okay, I'm moving that energy there, and just that should be enough to get you going with that, to get you started on building in that habit slowly so you can feel the benefits and maybe you can utilize it more. And again, in no way I'm saying you should eliminate something from your life, right? Just like there is a good time to have food and not so good time to have food, or a good time to have dessert and not so good time to have dessert, right? You don't want to have maybe a cake in the morning. Usually is not the best thing to do, right? Maybe you want to have a light stomach, or you have your British breakfast and then you have dessert sometime later in the evening usually, right? So it's the same thing with this, you do your work, you focus, and then you have your party on the weekend, or every night, or every other night, or once a month, or whatever else that you figure out that works for you. But just adding some restriction and some control to it will produce massive benefits into your life. Amazing and huge benefits. And so I hope you incorporate that into your life. Thank you for watching.